Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. I'm your host, Allison Ankerstar, and today we'll be talking about this week's bear market rally, September's jobs report, and marijuana investing. But before we begin, as a reminder, this is a financial education presentation and should not be construed as personal financial advice. Full disclaimer information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. Good morning, Steve. The stock market rose a total of 5.7% on Monday and Tuesday combined. Can you explain why after such a bad month of September?
Well, good morning, Allison, and thank you for the intro there. Also, thanks to all the clients that reached out yesterday. I canceled the quarterly investor brief and moved it to Monday. The reason I did that, everybody was asking, is I scratched my cornea. You probably can't see it in that small picture of me, but yeah, my eye's a little puffy. I was taken out of contact, scratched it. So there was no way I could get all the prep work done that I needed to do yesterday for the briefing. So even though things are healing fine, should be good to go by Monday. But yeah, thanks for reaching out for those that did. All right, the question, bear market rally, right? So why can we go down for like 6 weeks of in a row, basically through the September to forget, if you will, and then we have the market screams higher on 2 days. Well, let's take a look at it. It's called a bear market rally, like Allison asked, and why do these things happen? Well, they can happen for a couple reasons. First of all, we got new lows. So again, new lows at the end of September. And then we're talking about this big move up that's right there bouncing around there in the yellow. Again, 5.7% in 2 days. What happens is things get oversold to the down. So there's two reasons. One is technical. From a chartist perspective, as soon as this holds here, the market's going to bounce and go higher. So a lot of people are buying that dip right there. So that's the technical perspective. From a fundamental perspective, there's going to be the buy the dip folks because things got a lot cheaper in September, and it can't continue down. A lot of people think, well, obviously the bottom's now in. We have new lows for 2022. The bottom's in, so we're going to buy here. So again, both those forces, you combine those forces together and the market moves higher. You see it on, these big moves up after each time. This was a new low for 2022. This was a new low for 2022. This was a new low. This was a new low. So you do see these aggressive moves higher after the big sell-offs. Generally, people are kind of throwing a dart there a little bit about the bottom being in, and that I don't think it is. I think there is more pain ahead. We could have new lows by the end of the year, and we're in a little bit of a predicament with the inflation and the Fed rate hikes not working as much as they thought, right? So I think there's, being a little more cautious here. If you're going to hold through, there's no problem with that. It bounces wherever it bounces, and by 2023 or 2024, we're back on our road to recovery. However, if you want to be a little more tactical and build up, go to more conservative now to stop the losses, if that's wearing on you, then we can do that. Or if you want to hold a cash position through some of this, I'm building a cash position on the sideline. But bear market rallies happen. That doesn't mean the bear market's over. As you can see from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Friday now setting up as a down day. So we'll see how it all plays out, but I think there'll be more pain ahead.
Next, this morning's jobs report showed a decrease in unemployment. Is this good or bad for the market?
Right. So good news, right? Anytime unemployment decreases, you would think we'd celebrate that, right? That shows the economy has strength. More people are working. That's a fantastic around number. The problem is we're at that point in the market where good news is bad news. So what does that mean? Well, we got good news, which means even though technically we've had 2 quarters in a row where the GDP dropped, probably I think the GDP number out for the third quarter will show a decline as well. So that'll be 3 straight quarters. But which kind of meets the most widely accepted definition of recession. But the reason the government's saying it's not a recession is because the employment situation continues to not only be good, but also improve, which is insane. And clearly you're not in a recession if unemployment is dropping, right? So I kind of see the government's point, but what does that mean for the market? Well, the good news in jobs means that the economy is doing just fine, and the Fed can continue raising rates either on their schedule or even an accelerated schedule because of the strength of the economy. In other words, they aren't going to throw us into recession if they touch rates again. If anything, this shows that the economy is a lot stronger than the Fed realized, so therefore the Fed can continue to raise rates. and further cause they have room to maneuver to raise rates more without causing undue harm to the economy. I don't know. I think if we accelerate the rate hikes now, we will do damage to the economy, and we'll end up in that hard landing. I think the hard landing scenario that I talked about on Monday is really guaranteed at this point. I think all of a sudden we will be in a recession, and it'll be kind of ugly instead of the best recession ever that we're in right now. So again, good news is bad news. Futures and everything are down well over 1%. Let's take a look at the numbers here. So Dow down almost 1%, NASDAQ down almost 2%, still up about 3.5% for the week. So it's gonna hit the books probably as a green week, but overall the last 3 days will be trending down.
Last, President Biden recently announced that he intends to pardon thousands of people for federal marijuana offenses. Is now the time to invest in marijuana?
Well, so let's talk about why would you invest in marijuana first, and then we'll talk about this as trigger event, if you will. But if you ever think how can politicians benefit from for inside information, this would be a clear situation where I'm sure a lot of people knew that this was coming. And if they took advantage of it, that's clearly insider trading. But again, all these stocks jumped 20 to 30% yesterday and are still on the move higher today based off of this announcment. So that's why all those rules are in place that should prohibit that. However, I know I'm sure it still happens. But why invest in marijuana? So you have to believe that the future is legalization of marijuana. So if you're nationwide. So if you're going to invest, don't do it if you don't believe that, right? Because that is the thesis. And why would it become legal? Bill, people, the argument is it's a better societal high than drinking. So drinking, alcohol, you have the emotions, the rage, the dangers of drinking and driving, and the domestic abuse and all of the ugliness that comes out of the alcohol side. The argument is that from the marijuana side, it's a better high because people are now spinning down, and you're not going to end up in a fight when you're high, right? If anything, you're more lackadaisical. But that's kind of the theory of it. And I forget the exact number of states now. It's either 18 or 19, I think, where it's legal in some form. It's gonna, I think, and I do think it will get legalized nationwide. So this is one step of decriminalization, which is a lot of syllables, but is to stop enforcing it. Like here in Austin, it's not really enforced in Austin where it is in other places, even though it's not legal either. So kind of there's hedging going on everywhere towards legalization. But anyhow, this is what Biden said yesterday. This affects thousands of people. So if this happens, obviously that's going to be good for the stocks. There's a couple ways to own you can own the individual stocks, which I'm not even going to talk about, or you can go right into an ETF. So again, not pushing this. I think these things have probably overreacted to the upside. I mean, went 38% yesterday and 15% more this morning. So when you see a chart like this, you have to say, well, wow, that's quite a move, right? Almost 50%, over 50% between those two numbers there. So you kind of have to say, I think I missed it. So if you want in, just wait. I think this will come back down from the 50% in 24 hours move higher. So and again, individual names I think are too risky here. So there's several of these index funds. They all have weed type names like Toke and Weed and that sort of thing. If you're interested, that's how I would play it. But I also think that you could wait and get a better entry point from here.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Please submit your questions as a comment through social media or directly to our email at vipservices@ankerstarwealth.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get daily updates. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Allison Ankerstar. We'll see you back here Monday.